This is it. This is the show. No claps.
Hey everybody, welcome to Funny Nut News.
This is
Nut.
the first official but second non-official episode.
Yeah, I guess we decided to do it live now too. Oh, damn, I was gonna say something I already forgot.
We're staying true to form, though.
My brain died.
We're
True to
staying true
form.
to form. Like episode 1 is lost.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I have it recorded, but I couldn't hear any audio, so maybe I don't.
Nope, it's
Oh,
gone.
that sucks.
Do you think people will watch this before church since it's early on Sunday mornings?
Who
We
of our
pl-
followers goes to church?
Maybe.
First off, we plan to start at 8:30, but this week's a little different.
So yeah, this will be hopefully pretty consistent every Sunday at 8:30 to 9:30. You're getting at your morning coffee, looking over some news.
I had mine.
I've got my coffee.
I already drank it. We took too long to start.
Oh no, I drank mine too. It was, yeah. Oh, good.
So anyways, I think most of the news is stuff we've been talking about, but a little further down the line.
Yeah, that was
As
kind of
far-
the point. That this would be more focused, I guess, on news. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we get to use our knowledge of conspiracy theories around the news, but we're more focusing on like what is going on day to day. It's a recap of the week mostly.
Right.
And so this week, it's still that train derailment in Ohio.
Yep. Trump made it down there.
He did.
Yes, he did. And on Twitter, from what I saw, people were pretty excited that he was there. He was like, he bought a bunch of people McDonald's. Like
He always gives people McDonald's. It's always what he gives people.
he went to McDonald's and told the lady at the counter, "I probably know this menu better than you. I want as many Big Macs as y'all can make." And then he took them to like, I guess it was like a mini rally.
Dude, I don't even mind that. I mean,
No, he made
Okay.
Biden look pretty bad because I think the White House came out the next day and said he has no plans of going there.
that's
Dude,
pretty crazy.
That's so fucked. But he goes to Ukraine, and we're gonna give them a huge amount of more money. Like, I don't even know, billions, straight up billions.
Yeah. No, it's crazy to be like, I'm not going to go to Ohio, but I'm going to go to another country and give them a bunch of money. We
Bad
make
man.
this point incessantly, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
still crazy. How do you not keep making it with every? It's just like instance after instance, he's not doing it. So This is-
Fucking wild.
the latest in a series. But there's an NPR article if you want to pull that up. They're kind of giving Biden shit. Oh, and there's a point in here that I heard a bunch. Do you want to pull up that article?
Yes.
So the third paragraph in the "So what now" section, it's pretty close to the bottom.
Can I do reader?
Down.
President,
I
political
just want to skip to this part because it should say "So what now" in bold writing. Keep going down.
There it is.
Okay, the third paragraph, I think it's right under that picture.
Was that a picture of Kushner?
Buttigieg. So I've heard the point a lot that part of Trump's deregulation, I think they made this point on The View, but it's Joe Behar, so she's an idiot. But it says it's true that Trump reversed an Obama-era rule put in place that required trains carrying hazardous material to be retrofitted with electronically controlled braking systems, but there's no evidence that would have prevented this particular derailment. And so what I heard happened, which is what I said the first time, which I got off 4chan, so it's kind of crazy. One of the wheels overheated and like blew up and stopped working. So all those sparks were that wheel overheating.
Yeah.
And it's because of that system that you talked about, the PFR or something, rapid.
PSR, Precision Scheduling Railroading.
Yeah. And so they were like hot on the rails, you know?
Yeah. No, I thought we were going back and forth with this. I guess not last week, but even the week before that. that
Mhm.
there's just a lot of blame shifting around on who was responsible.
Mhm.
I mean, somebody was trying to say it's because the stuff Trump cut, but then they were also saying that the stuff Trump cut didn't have. Slip that one in. The
You
stuff
said that.
Trump
Oh
cut
shit.
didn't really
Good
have
morning.
anything to do with this.
Yeah.
Which
And,
then it was Obama. It was Obama that had something to do with it.
I'm not sure to the extent that Obama had to do with it.
Well, they were both cutting stuff. I thought Obama did something that was.
No, Obama added that if you have hazardous materials on board, you have to have new brakes.
Oh, go figure.
You have to be retrofitted with new, better brakes. And Trump repealed that, but the brakes didn't cause this train to derail. So that point is moot. And it's from NPR. So,
Which is pretty classic Republican Democrat. Yes, right?
Take
Yeah.
away everything
No.
they do.
yeah, it's just everyone screaming at everyone else. But that's still pretty crazy. And did y'all see there were like dust clouds moving east? And like, I think the weather people were like, no, it's just a dust storm. And it's like, that's some pretty peculiar timing.
Well, the I saw there's like hazardous like the community. I'm sorry, I can't talk. I'm still trying to wake up. The people that are in charge of like cleaning up all those hazardous materials and all that shit, they're saying it's affecting parts of Texas too, because we get, I guess, the water systems that like contaminated a bunch of the water.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
It showed a map when I was watching some news yesterday, and it showed like which states were already being affected by it, and Texas was lit red. I was like, oh shit.
I posted another link in the general. Jeremy, it's about the dust clouds that were in the eastern panhandle of Virginia. They're all worried that it's from the aftermath of the train, basically.
Mm.
It's in the.
How are you there?
Agencies investigating dust clouds in eastern. So, I mean, that's kind of tough. I think they're worried about dust clouds over the Texas Panhandle being formed by the
This is
waste from the
This is
Ohio.
No, this is Virginia. So yes, from Ohio, but this is in Virginia.
Oh, I never even occurred to me that other states have panhandles. Oh, that would make more sense because I was gonna say it didn't for the main part. Like the air flows from west to east, so if it's going
Yeah.
from Ohio to Virginia, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and I think Texas gets a lot of air like from directly south up the Gulf of Mexico too.
Yeah, there's some whirlwinds there for sure.
But yeah, train derailment's crazy. I haven't seen. There was a uranium factor on fire in Tennessee.
Well,
Did
hang
y'all see
on.
that?
Does the Ohio still in the Ohio thing? Ohio piece. There was
Ohio.
the head of the EPA went out there with the mayor and all that. I don't think it was the mayor, but they were like setting up photo ops of them drinking the water.
Oh
see
yeah, I
that?
saw that.
Where they're in somebody's house.
Did they actually drink it?
So that was
didn't
part of the
watch the
meme. I don't know. Like it's hard to tell. Like the main head of the EPA guy, like literally goes like this. But then he's like, "That's really good tap water. That's really good tap water." And then they're like, "If you liked it so much, drink the whole thing."
Yeah.
It could have gone
Like
back
calling
and
him
forth.
on his bullshit. They're still evacuating people out of their houses. So how the fuck are they drinking the water and acting like it's okay?
Are they really still evacuating people?
Yes, I saw it literally yesterday. They're still evacuating people out of their houses where it's still really badly contaminated, and like the hazardous chemicals were like on their fucking shelves and all over the kitchen counters and all that stuff, and they were telling people to like wipe it off as fast as possible because they didn't want that shit to soak in.
I'm trying to. How do you filter Google searches?
There's like exclamation marks you can put in there, quotation marks.
Anytime past 24 hours. I know they're checking on people door to door.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I saw that.
Dude, that's such Big Brother sounding stuff. It's kind of scary.
I can't find where they're still evacuating people, but I don't doubt that it's happening. That's pretty insane, man. Could you imagine? Did y'all notice Friday? Yep, Drake probably didn't. Maybe Jeremy did. Where we live is split by a train track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know where the train is.
And Friday morning, one was stopped there. They had like cones on every street that has to cross the train track.
Oh,
So you could not get from one side to the other.
Oh, yeah. And you're in the old part, so.
Yeah, it took me an hour to get to the new part to get to the highway I had to get to.
I didn't see that. I was out a little bit yesterday and I got caught by a train. It was a very long train.
Yeah, when you have to sit there like the one Clayton's talking about right there, and that at that fucking part,
Yeah.
I've sat there for like 30 plus minutes before waiting on trains to just go by. Like some of them, I feel like have over 100 fucking carts behind them.
Oh yeah. No, and I wonder if they're ever transporting toxic waste. That would scare the shit out of me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Who knows? And
were all
half of
containers,
half of the containers say like Chinese companies and shit.
It
So
was like the Breaking Bad episode where they stole all that meth out of one.
yeah, that's a crazy episode. It wasn't meth. It was
Precursors.
they were pouring the water out and taking the
They're pouring water in and taking the
pouring water in,
methylamine.
the methylamine,
That's
replacing it with the water. That way they wouldn't see the weight difference.
Yeah.
Go watch Breaking Bad if you haven't. If you haven't, what the fuck are you doing in life?
I want to do some research and find out like, is there any like major crime like that actually inspired by something like that? Like something
Sure.
from a TV or movie where somebody's actually tried?
Well, a lot of
I don't
people
know.
have wanted to be Scarface since Scarface came out. So yeah,
He's,
I bet it's happened.
he's got you. That is a good point.
So many people have wanted to be like major drug kingpins because of.
Last week though, it seemed like there were a bunch of derailments and like fires and stuff breaking out in warehouses everywhere, and it was hard to tell if it was like, is this just big in the news so it seems more important to me, or is
They were
Are
trying
you-
to distract from Trump going to Ohio.
it really increasing? But the only other one that I saw that was kind of scary, but it got resolved without any huge hiccups.
Yeah.
I posted it in general too. So in Tennessee, there was a uranium processing facility that caught on fire, which sounds scary. I don't even know what happens if you catch uranium on fire, so maybe nothing.
I don't want to know.
But several hundred employees were evacuated.
Oh, sorry.
But there was no release of radioactive material, officials said. And they don't know what caused the fire. But it was contained, so not a huge deal. But scary to see that headline. Hey, there's a uranium factor on fire.
In
Uranium
Tennessee,
factory
it
on
seems
fire.
pretty alarming. Yeah.
I want to see like what happens.
I mean, that's like just because it's Heartland, I guess.
Yeah. I was in Tennessee when that happened too. I was on the other side of Tennessee. This was East Tennessee.
What was I talking about?
Oh,
Yeah. What were you saying?
nothing important, I guess. What else do y'all see?
No, I mean, it was the same thing when the train happened in Ohio. Like, it does seem like this is kind of a big event, which it is. Obviously, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, how often does this stuff happen?
Mm-hmm.
But the train derailments, I don't think that was like a one-off. I think it was like, it wasn't a common thing, but it's definitely something that occurs frequently.
What, train derailments?
Train derailments.
Yeah.
I would say that, but then the other half of it too is an actual chemical spill resulting from it. I don't think that's that common. Right.
Right.
So,
Or
I don't
the decisions that were made immediately after to burn it.
well, there's still, a lot of question if that was the right thing to do, right? Burn that off. I mean, I'm not a scientist. That might have been the only way to do it.
Right.
I don't know.
Who knows,
There was an
man?
argument I heard that could have been the best way to get rid of it. I don't know. It did seem wrong to put that stuff in the atmosphere.
Yeah, especially.
Well, they're spraying other stuff in our atmosphere as well.
I think they decided to burn it because they were worried about it getting in the water.
Yeah.
So that probably would have been worse if I had to take a guess. If it, well, it kind of is. We've seen the videos where they're like stirring the water and it looks like chemicals on top. But if it had gotten so, or like as bad as it could have got with the water, I think that's if you ruin the entire Ohio River, that's way worse, right?
Yeah. Like, pull up a map of where it all fucking flows through.
That's a good idea. We should do that. I've seen
The
that.
Ohio
Actually.
River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ohio contamination map.
I just googled what does it feed, I guess.
The Ohio River.
Yeah.
Ohio.
Well, pull up
No,
one
dude,
of those.
it's like the entire country, dude.
No.
Yeah, look at that.
Damn.
My dog is snoring. Oh, he's so cute.
No, I mean, yeah, it all flows south, right? So if something happened in Ohio, it's easy to think that it would trail into the Mississippi and then down through Arkansas,
The Gulf.
Louisiana, and all that into the Gulf, just the toilet of America. We live pretty close to the Gulf. I don't mean to shit talk the Gulf. It's a beautiful place, but it's also.
What if this is the start of The Last of Us, but in real life?
We're gonna play that show every episode.
I still haven't seen that.
New one tonight, bro. You need to. You also need to play the game. Do you have a PlayStation?
No. I have a PlayStation 1.
It ain't gonna work on that, my dude.
PSP?
If you can fit a PS4 disc in it.
Do y'all remember? Pull up the next article I just posted.
Okay, this is what I wanted to get into.
Do y'all remember the lost first episode on aliens?
Mm-hmm.
And how I was talking about aliens were turning off warheads in the 60s, and I showed video of the panel of the guys who worked there.
That was so long ago.
Well, it turns out that now the government is going to investigate what I was talking about.
Damn.
Yeah.
I wish we still had that.
Yeah.
RIP. Pour drink out for our episode 1.
Now it kind of sounds like a lie. Do you remember what I talked about months ago? Look at this. No proof that I talked about it months ago.
It would have been 6 months of this.
So
just to reiterate what it was, that there was reports of UFOs turning off nuclear warheads at these military bases.
Yeah,
in the 60s.
Yeah. Yep. And I wish I could. That video was hard to find. I don't know if I'll be able to find it again. But it was. I think they're talking to the same officials about their stories if they're still alive. I mean, if they were 20 in the 60s plus 60 years,
they'd be 20 years older than your parents now.
Yeah, they're in like 80s.
It's grandparents. No, I mean, that was another piece of it too. I think we probably covered on that episode, but that it was maybe they're waiting for some of these people to die.
Yeah, so they didn't. We couldn't get the information.
Part of the podcast I was listening to too is that they probably are waiting for a certain like group of people to be out. So part of the reason that the arguments was against disclosure was they've done such horrible stuff, right? Like within the scope of trying to investigate and research alien stuff, like they've put people in harm's way and they've died and all this stuff. Like they've just handled the whole thing real bad and there's been mass casualty or something like that. So that would have been reason enough not to come out, as like, because they've done terrible shit trying to figure this out.
Right.
And then you just wait for this generation to pass away, just like with the Kennedy files, right? Like it's coming out that that was all true. It's just they had to wait long enough for people to move out of positions of power to say, hey, it was actually rambling. But
well, if you imagine like Bob Lazar's story,
yeah,
how they like ditched him when he left his wife or whatever, and then he went public, and now he's in fear of his life of the government or whatever.
I think I understood it
Imagine-
a little differently. I don't know.
What do you mean?
We covered it, I'm sure, in that episode, but they didn't like cut him off when all that was happening. They're
Yeah.
the ones that told him about it. What
No,
was-
they had him quit coming in.
the story I understood it was that they were tapping him while he was working there. Like they were just keeping tabs on him. And so they had
Yeah.
his phone lines tapped, and they stumble upon, I guess his wife was having an affair, but they withheld that information. And then at
And had
some
him
point
stop coming.
at some point he either finds out or they tell him, and then they ask him to stop coming in because they're worried how he'll react to that
No.
affair. That
No,
was the way
that's
I
not
understood it.
What happened is that they found out his wife was cheating on him and were worried about his mental health, so they had him stop coming in
Is that not what I just said?
at that moment. And he got no, that's not what you said. And he got paranoid at that, so he went public and then found out everything,
Yeah.
and they were messing with him.
So there was other pieces of that too that I heard. So
But the point I was trying to make is like, if you imagine that scenario, but like way worse in any aspect, there
Yeah.
could be other Bob Lazars that are dead.
well, that's what Tom DeLonge is saying. It's like nefarious stuff going on. So maybe we shouldn't know. But Bob Lazar replaced somebody working on that project that was killed working on the project.
Yeah, he like stabbed the core or something, or he tried to open it.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some kind of anti-gravitational device that they're working on, and like he opens it up or something, and it kills him. Have you heard the conspiracy that the Lost Ark is supposed to be like some kind of alien thing?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
heard a something about that.
I also heard, this is crazy.
We're here
Uh,
for.
So the pyramids, when they were built, if it was well back when they think the Sphinx was facing the constellation Leo, at that time there were rivers flowing through the Nile through that area. Like the pyramids would have been right next to a giant river, and they think the series of tunnels underneath the pyramid were gathering some type of energy that is created when granite has flowing water near it, and that it was all a giant funnel to make a giant battery for the world. And the Ark of the Covenant was in the King's Chamber, and the capstone was actually made of gold, so it would disperse the energy.
That's Tesla shit, dude.
Yeah.
Where did you hear that?
TikTok or an Instagram reel or something. It was a clip of like a program, and I couldn't find the program, but he was talking about it. I was like, what if, man? Wouldn't
What
that
if?
be great?
Hey, I want to know what it was like on Earth before the flood. Like how fucking brutal it must have been. You know, like
What do you mean?
I feel like no one was like civil. Like if the Christian Bible is right and like God flooded the earth to rid the people because it was just so filled with sin.
I mean, you could say that about today.
That's what I'm saying. Like what? Well, I mean,
This is appropriate for Sunday morning.
it is. No, I'm not trying to get religious, but I'm just like
No.
saying. I'm just saying like
how brutal it must have been to
how
be a
brutal it
human.
must have been, because like how did they were they going off of like I don't fucking know. I don't
Yeah,
fucking
you
know.
get-
I'm
you
just
get to
trying to think about it.
You get to the idea of like, how brutal was it if we're not being flooded right this fucking second?
Yeah.
I mean, it could have just been like everything else in the Bible, just another analogy or analog, right? If it was some fictional story
Story.
that told, like, I'd be telling that story right now. Like, we need another plague.
But I'm just wondering if it was like
Oh my god!
Like,
no, we
quoting the
just-
Office.
just pillage and plunder all over the place, and everyone's just trying to like no one gets along, everyone's killing each other and doing other terrible things.
Isn't that
And
what we're doing right now?
everyone's butt fucking down in Sodom.
Dude, that's in the
Yeah.
news too. Oh, sorry, hang on.
That was in the news.
It was a weird, never mind. I'll wait, I'll save it. Anyways, staying
No,
on the
I-
UFO piece.
I would like to watch you build that bridge. Go ahead.
when
Tennessee set to ban the drag shows.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh.
That seems pretty crazy. It was, I don't want to say a weird segue, but
It makes sense to age gate them maybe, but not get rid of them totally, right?
I get like not wanting like to expose children or something like that, like the what's the word, vulgar or something like that. If people are outside naked or something in the streets, which I think at one point they were arguing that that was what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
But to ban drag specifically, like you have indecent exposure laws, right? Like that stuff's in place.
They did exactly what I said. Hang on. I'll pull this article. I'll post it in
Do it.
Fuck, I hit the wrong button. I hit paste.
Do it now.
It's from the Tennessean.
What was
the first
that?
I don't know.
Computer fart?
The first paragraph says the Tennessee House Republicans on Thursday moved to prohibit, in quotes, adult-oriented entertainment from public property and restrict it to age-restricted venues.
Okay, that's not as inflammatory as I made it sound.
Yeah. The bill classifies male and female impersonators as adult cabaret performers and bans adult-oriented performances that are harmful to minors.
I mean, I would agree with that. I think it should be like an 18 up kind of venue, right? Like,
yeah. Well, like, and
kids
so
can't walk into a strip club kind of thing.
No, and I kind of get how like a drag show doesn't have to be overtly sexualized, but when you keep seeing videos of kids like giving performers dollars,
yeah,
it's like this is obviously not okay, right?
Well, there's two sides of that too. Like that would be the same parents that are allowing that would be the same parents that took their kids to a strip club.
Right.
Like they're learning that behavior from their parents. That's 100% parenting. Which
it's weird. I don't know.
You would argue that they have the right to do whatever they want as parents. I mean, not whatever they want, but right. Like I get really weary of like giving the government any say over what you can and can't do with your kids. To an extent, obviously. All the bullshit aside, but like I don't know, there's news in the
No, I get your point is a libertarian one, so I understand it.
No, I mean that's where Canada's at right now. Canada right now is, I heard, like if your kid is like exhibiting signs of gender dysphoria or something like that, and you're not giving them like counseling or like letting them explore that avenue or something, then the government comes in and takes the kid away.
Yeah.
It's like CPS gets involved. That's what I'm kind of saying.
That's the opposite end of the argument. You're talking about one argument, you're on both sides. So like either you let parents do what they want to or you totally don't. And I understand what you're saying, but there's got to be a gray area in the middle where obviously drag shows are bad and obviously you can't let the government.
Drag shows are bad even. I think it's just education and it's parenting.
You shouldn't just push drag on children.
I agree with that.
Over sexualized scenarios, I'll say.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
And you can't allow the government to force you to treat your kid some type of way medically. To an extent, though, because then you see a story about a vegan parent whose kid died of malnutrition. Not to say that kids can't be vegans.
I think
I'm sure
the
they can,
of that argument would be they shouldn't be allowed to do it, but they should be charged criminally for that. If they allowed their child to die because of malnutrition, then the parents should face charges.
I'm pretty sure they would, and they probably did if that happened with what Clayton's talking about.
No, I get on the fence about saying they don't have the choice to do something.
Yeah. No, I get your point, but
there's some gray areas.
The end goal is protecting kids, and that's gray in either direction in my mind.
Yeah.
That's a weird culture war issue that doesn't necessarily affect me yet, but
well, I mean, potentially for everybody. I mean, we were all kids once, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And I think there are a lot of shit parents out there that shouldn't have some of those rights, right? Like there are some people out there that should not have kids, 100%.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And they're the ones giving dollar bills to drag strippers. We're going to get canceled before episode 2.
I know, right? Well, here's an interesting conundrum, and I guess it's not really, because like it's cute to take a young boy to Hooters.
Is it?
Some people think. Let me qualify that.
What do you mean by young boy?
I probably wouldn't. Like after a little league game, say you're 12 and the
I
whole
got
team
you.
goes to Hooters.
12's probably right
the
on the
kids.
line.
Yeah, that's like South Park. They're like, oh,
Yeah. They had the what was the name of their restaurant? Like Itty Bitties or something?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Mosquito bites or something like that.
It's a terrible name.
something. Yeah.
So like if a drag show is that to that extent, I don't really care.
It's too expensive. There you go. Free stream.
I'm not taking my kid to a drag show for the same reason I'm not taking them to a bar. It's too expensive.
I agree. Yeah.
I think he dropped that gym and bounced. That's funny.
That's great.
I don't know. That feels really weird, but I don't know. I wouldn't say they don't have the right to do something like
Yeah, it's like a bar. Would you take a fucking 12-year-old to a bar and let them just see?
I was taken to bars as a child.
See, but
well, you know what? That's your father's fault.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. Like, I was super sheltered from that stuff. Like, I never saw my parents do anything. Like, my mom might have had like one glass of wine a week, and it was like a Saturday night or something. But my dad didn't touch anything all that growing up, so I was extremely sheltered from it. They didn't have parties and have friends over where they were drinking and stuff like that.
Mm.
I don't say it did me a disservice, but at the same time, like, your parents are human and people too. Like, they do engage in that stuff, and to make it's like I was set up to think like your parents are like superheroes almost. Like, you raise them to the level of Jesus Christ, and then you grow up thinking like, oh, well, I got to be on that level, and then like I think probably not you, Clayton, but maybe Drake, but like growing up thinking it was like immoral to drink even, or like cannabis is the devil,
No, because my parents drank. They weren't like drinking every day type of thing, but like their friends would come over and they would hang out and drink wine and beer and throw back some whiskey shots every now and then, smoke a cigar. Like, it was no big deal over at my family.
I was well exposed, but I also thought it was morally bad.
Where would you have gotten that? Because I don't want to say my parents directly said that, but I don't know.
Probably because my parents always said, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
Which is BS, right?
Yeah.
They can say that, but you're going to emulate their behavior.
No, and my dad, this is weird, but
deep here.
So like
getting deep with funny nut news.
My dad thought it was funny that I did not want to drink beer, so even at like 14 and 15, he would like hand me one. I'd be like, I don't want that, and he'd be like,
See,
I know.
Come on,
like,
yeah.
It was like a playful, like a you're allowed to kind of thing, and I was like, I have no desire, and somehow that maintained. I don't know, in yeah, in some ways I was sheltered because it was a small town, but then going to college and people doing that, I was like, I mean, I guess I'll try it now, but
yeah,
I know where this ends.
I think there's some merit there too, though.
The passenger side door, scraping his face on the sidewalk.
I've got, I don't know, having your kid try like alcohol, not like whiskey or something like that, but like let them sip wine or something, and then going, oh, that's gross. Like, that's kind of a deterrent, right? Deterrent.
Free stream. My dad drank with Clayton's dad. That's true.
Is it okay? I was about to ask. That's pretty awesome.
It's like you catch your kid with a cigarette, you make them smoke a whole pack. So
when I was 15, when I was 15 years old, my dad was smoking a cigar with his friend outside, and it was a big fucking fat Cuban, and I was like, damn, that looks cool. I want to smoke that. And he goes, all right, take a real big puff. And I was like, all right. Start coughing everywhere, and he's like, now you'll never smoke. And, it's kind of like a like you just said, Jeremy. Oh, you smoke a cigarette, now you gotta smoke 20 in a row type of thing. And
that would kill me probably.
Yeah, that's bad. That's some Eric Foreman shit right there.
We're kind of just getting down to like parenting is difficult.
It can be.
But with some of these decisions that probably shouldn't be going to the government is making decisions, and really it's a cultural problem in that there are irresponsible parents which are producing irresponsible children.
I'm not saying I'm a libertarian, but that definitely align with, to me, that's just Darwinism, dude. Darwinism.
Well, it ought to be, and the problem is that the government is saving those who would otherwise be Darwinized.
Just let them figure shit out. If it doesn't work, it's each little thing is an experiment, right? This was a bad experiment.
One thing I saw yesterday too, with the government is I think March 1st they're taking away the COVID benefit packages like at grocery stores for low income families, where they can't like get mass groceries as cheap as they were. And it's kind of because the COVID restrictions are like lifted and stuff. So it's kind of stupid that they're not going to help these families anymore. Like if you're going to take it away because of COVID, at least just give it another name and still help these low income families instead of just being like, oh, well, you're shit out of luck now that we can be within 6 feet of each other.
It's May 11th at the end.
May 11th. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I didn't hear about this. I didn't even realize we were still giving out packages or what that entails.
I think if it is helping low income families, like if it's the true intention is being done, then I support it. I just wish that they could continue to help these families, even if they are taking it away and not making it a COVID relief package.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, but I have two different perspectives on politics in that one of them is what should happen right now and what is the actual best thing. And so that's one of those that goes in the actual best thing. But what needs to happen right now is that the government needs to stop wasting everybody's money. So I don't want to give them any more money to waste in any manner. So if they're ending some type of policy, I'm going, yes, good. But
I can agree with that.
In real life, if I could reorganize everything, that would happen. But it's just not plausible right now because we're just bloated and giving Ukraine all the millions of dollars. Yeah. Like we have to turn off the spigot, then reorganize everything, and then slowly turn it back on.
Basically start fresh because everywhere needs to be redone.
Yeah. No, Free Stream said that's why I didn't take any of those government aids. I didn't want to be reliant on the government.
You can't say AIDS. Why is mine edited? Why is my comments edited? Why are my comments edited?
I don't see that on my end.
I don't see it on mine.
I mean, I'm on my phone, but I don't fucking
You've got your own parental clock rolling. But I think he's talking about the like $2,000 during COVID or whatever.
Mm.
I mean,
I worked all through it,
similar.
but it was like I didn't. If they were already going to spend that money, the $2,000 that goes to me, it wasn't going to make it any better or worse. So I took that shit.
Was it an option? I thought we all just got like checks in the mail or something like that.
We did. If you paid taxes.
If you pay taxes, you got it through like direct deposit and other forms.
So I don't know if y'all remember, but W did the same thing.
Gave people money?
Yeah, there was like a stimulus check that W sent out.
What?
100%.
I mean, I was too young. I didn't have a fucking bank account then.
Around 2007, 2006 maybe. He
I was in
trying
school,
to boost the
dog.
economy.
What are you talking about?
Everybody got like $1,800 or some shit like that.
I'm gonna ask my mom. This is what it was. That's just true.
Bush signed the Economic Stimulus Act in 2008 to alleviate the effects and stave off the recession. The act consisted of $152 billion that included a $600 tax rebate to low and middle class households. So you got it back on your taxes, and if you owed taxes, they would subtract from it.
Okay.
I remember what year was it?
Money. 2008.
So yeah, I mean, damn.
So right before Obama got in.
Well, that would have been the debates that year.
Yep.
No. Yeah. Yeah.
Obama was in 2008, I think. Yeah, that was his first year.
He was inaugurated in 2009, but he got elected in the end of 2008.
There's no presidential debates this year. They're going to take place next year, and then whoever it is will be reelected 2025.
Yeah, but they're incumbent starting in 2024.
We'll debate
and so when you do presidential years, his year does start on 2024, regardless of not actually having any power in that time, because they don't get inaugurated until January 6th, right?
That's what I'm trying to say. It would be 2025, not 2024.
Right, but they got elected in 24.
They got elected in 24, but they're not inaugurated until 2025. Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't really matter because when they are president, they get unelected in that year, but they still have the power till the next year.
This is messing with my head.
The time doesn't really matter. You just go by election date, not taking authority date.
When was Biden's inaugural?
January 6th.
But it was 2020.
Yeah, it was. Or no, it was 2021. It was January 13th or something. January 6th is when they ratified it, I think.
It is 2021. Man, that's confusing.
I know what I'm talking about.
I know it. I know it. I don't doubt that. I'm just saying, I don't know.
It is weird, yeah.
It makes sense though, because 21, 22, 23, 24 would be the full 4 years, and that 5 would be, yeah. So.
Dude, I heard this weird theory that Obama is actually still running shit.
Dude. Yeah.
But he couldn't be president.
He's pulling a Dick Cheney behind the scenes.
Yes.
Yeah, but he's like not even
like I've been trying to like get this into people's ears.
Take it away, Drake.
No, I'm not.
Here, I'll Google if Obama is still running.
I don't think you're gonna find some kind of tangible piece of evidence that he's doing anything.
That's the thing.
I'm on board. That's the first I've heard it, but it would make sense if they have zero faith in Biden and he's just behind everything. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and he was already, they were already in office together. So.
Oh yeah, the reverse W and Cheney.
Oh, a Fox host said it.
Okay, well then it's probably bullshit.
I didn't hear it from Fox. I did not hear it from Fox. That's cool that Fox is doing it. Not that I.
Oh, the reason I heard
Fox,
it is, what's her name? Jean-Pierre or whatever, the press secretary.
I don't know her name, but I know who you're talking about.
She was talking and she said President Obama, and then her eyes got real big and she was like, "Oh, what a weird slip of the tongue. President Biden is da 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 da," and it was like, "Huh?
You slipped up."
Yeah.
Nah, I mean that could just be a slip up, but
president.
Yeah, they do. I hate that shit. Well, they say former usually. They're like former President Donald Trump is in Ohio.
Well, that might be something different, but I'm pretty sure in like the Secret Service, they still like you get it Secret Service for life. I imagine they're always saying Mr. President.
Yeah,
Mr. President.
I might be like, hey, I'm not the president now. Okay.
Call me Donnie. That's the coolest shit though. The George Washington story.
What George Washington?
When George Washington was becoming president, they were trying to figure out what to call the president because he's precedently setting the precedent for president.
So, I think they called him Your Majesty.
Well, they were trying to say Your Majesty, like honorable something, blah blah blah, and he was like, "No, dude, cut all that shit out." Just he didn't want to be called anything, but he said,
"I don't think that was
president."
No, I don't think Washington even wanted to be president, but they were kind of just like, "You're the dude. You're
pretty
our
confident
leader."
in the story, so you guys do whatever you want to check me. But
I don't think that changed until. Okay, no, I'm wrong.
When Washington became president, he was forced into presidency, and he was very well aware that he was setting the precedent for the president.
You're right. I just reread it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So everything he set in place was kind of how the president would be treated.
Yeah.
So he could have been like, "Yeah, fucking call me your king," and then from now on we would have been like, "Well, King Trump."
Your Majesty Trump. Jesus. That'd be crazy. Do you see anything else in the news?
So did y'all watch the JRE this week?
No, man, I haven't got a chance. I wanted to.
No, because right after that, he released a Protect Your Parks one, which is him, Shane Gillis, Ari Shaffir, and Mark Norman. So I watched that.
That one's probably...
Those are the funniest ones.
Well, I'm always more intrigued by the scientists and the...
Yeah, fair enough. He was talking with Brett Weinstein, right?
No, he was talking with... So there's
Eric,
two brothers, Eric and Brett. Brett is the biologist. I think I sent... Because he was on a few weeks back, too, talking about how COVID was obviously a conspiracy and just trying the power grab by the government and all this stuff. Like, he was laying it out from, like, a biological standpoint, how the vaccine was all bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's very well in depth. These two brothers are, like... I hold them in high regard because I feel like they know their shit as far as their respective sciences.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brett is the guy that was exposing the pharmaceutical companies, which we still need to talk about, as being all bullshit based on like super mouses and the telomeres for cancer research and all that stuff. Going off on a limb. But Eric, he's not a physicist. He's like I forget what he calls himself, a geometrist. He's like Randall, but he's far more, I guess, learned, studied.
Official.
But he was going pretty in depth on the UFO stuff. That's why I didn't want to skim over that piece about anti-gravity and like his. Both brothers have been victims of the stagnation within the college. Like Dude, I wanted to talk about this. That's why I'm talking. It gets crazy. Within the episode, he's talking about multiple things, like UFO being a big piece of it. But another small piece that both brothers touch on is how the whole college system is rigged. Not just like your bachelor's degree, but anytime you're trying to get a PhD in something, you go into this other like elitist class where they're like controlling that realm. And this is the wild conspiracy stuff that I haven't fact checked, but you've heard like peer-reviewed science, stuff like that.
Yeah.
All of that was introduced in like as late as the 60s, I think he was saying, like 1967 or something around there. You get introduction of this peer review process where you have to submit papers. They have to go through this specific peer-reviewed council, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person that started that set that standard, I think, is Maxwell's father. Glenn Maxwell's father.
What?
What?
You can fact check me if you want.
I'm Googling it, and this does say it turns out that peer reviewing scientific journals is a relatively recent construct, first emerging in the 19th century, and not seen as a central part of science until the late 20th century in the 1970s.
That's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah, I wonder if this article will tell me who.
So part of the Eric Weinstein podcast he was talking about is that was a conspiracy in itself to kind of control the narrative of scientists.
Yeah.
And he said it was handicapping, like it locks people into a school of thought. Like you're not allowed to study anything outside of their rhetoric, their understanding of it, right? Which led to string theory and all these stagnations in physics and stuff like that, because they're forced down a certain route. Because anytime you try to submit a paper against whatever the narrative is, they just shut it down. Which beckons back to the Graham Hancocks and Randall Carsons, like what they're trying to do. Like their narrative is against the official narrative, so they're getting shot down before it ever reaches that science realm, right?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to study that stuff. The same thing is happening in physics. You can't go down these other paths that Eric Weinstein's trying to do with geometrical unity. Like he's trying to like their whole construct of how gravity and the universe is structured. Like his is, it's based off of Einstein's stuff, but I forget how he does it a lot more eloquently than I do, but like his stuff is kind of the bigger picture stuff, and the results of it are the Einstein and Newtonian laws. But above that, there's a bigger picture that we don't know, which is the interdimensional stuff. He's like, you have to start there and go inward. You can't start here and then say that everything else relies on these fundamental laws here, because we don't have access to the whole interdimensional picture. So really, you should be looking at it from that perspective, trying to dial in deeper, which would result in Einstein and Newton. I'm going way off on a limb.
No, I understand. I'm following what you're saying. I'm trying to.
But from that whole peer review process, somewhere within there, my conspiracy is they did discover anti-gravity and all this alien shit, and just took it under the most top secret and won't even acknowledge that it's real. But secretly, for the past 50 years, they've been studying it.
Another controlling or a way to control that system would be with the grants and stuff that the government gives out. Like if you don't have the money to study that stuff, then you're not going to be able to do it.
He talks about that shit. So before the 60s, 70s period that I'm talking about, he called it cowboy science. They were just anybody that was wanting to study outlandish science, you were getting grants and getting to go. Dude,
hey man,
it's worth a watch.
The generation you just said is when MK Ultra pops off and goes hard.
That's what I'm thinking. It's all intertwined. It's just they stumbled upon like remote viewing. He was talking about like all this like super science fiction bullshit that you're just led to believe is a conspiracy theory that's like magic and never existed. But maybe they have it in some underground bunker, and just the safest way to keep it secret is labeled as conspiracy sci-fi.
Well, that's kind of what we were getting at towards the end of maybe the episode before last when we were talking about MK Ultra, is that like, okay, this ended at this time, but did it really? Like, did they just figure out how to do that better? Did they use serotonin instead of LSD now? Can they do it on a mass population level through subtle things in the media, which we already said they control through the church committees? That probably never ended either. Like, where does the influence of the government and their abilities end, and what are they capable of is an open-ended question. And to have someone like Eric Weinstein going, physics is captured, science is captured. Obviously the pharmaceuticals are captured. Obviously the war industry is captured.
it's pretty crazy when you think of it from that perspective. Like they're locking you into these certain things, and anybody that's trying to go outside of those schools of thought, they won't do it. Like he can't even be a scientist at this point because he's so scared that as soon as he releases papers, they're going to get shut off or like somebody's going to steal credit for it. So he's labeled himself as an entertainer so he could copyright his own material, just so the fact that other people can't take it.
That's interesting. It's pretty ingenious.
It's pretty crazy. But you said like people were getting grants to do science and stuff like that. They stopped that because they felt like it was wasting taxpayers' money. But from that, you got like the nuclear bombs and stuff like that. He called it cowboy science, and it beckoned to me back to. He used John Mayer as an example. Like he only uses analog amps with tubes and stuff like that. He won't use like $1 million amp simulators because there's some piece to the analog, right? There was a muse behind it too. So I think I've talked to you about it, Clayton, before, but I don't know Drake. So before you ever learn like actual music, like they teach you how to read notes and, you know, the rudiments and stuff like that. When you pick up an instrument for the first time, you're purely exploring, right? Like you have no knowledge of what you're doing. You're just kind of playing something that sounds cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain magic to that, right? Like you don't know any like chord progression, but like, oh well, this is in the key of this, so I could do this. You're just stumbling along until you hear something that tweaks you inside emotionally, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna follow that, and then you'd create something from that. That's the same thing for science. You get locked into a certain rhetoric. You have to follow these rules. Like there's only a subjective or objective reality that you have to follow these fundamental laws for. It handicaps you. You have no room for that muse to come in and like. This is obviously bad science, but you get to experiment, tweak these rules a little bit. It could result in this, and then you subject it to the scientific method. But to not even be able to go down that route, it seems blasphemous. I'm ranting.
No,
again.
Well, I kind of get what you're saying, but it's kind of like when Nostradamus was practicing medicine. He was putting all the doctors made their own tonics and serums or whatever to heal people. Nostradamus had rose hips, which actually did help because they were high in some vitamin that was important to beat the plague or something. So he washed his hands a lot. And so like, obviously all those doctors are unscientific, but Nostradamus was highly regarded because he figured two things out.
Still talking about him.
Yeah.
No, it was an interesting perspective for sure.
And he made a series of predictions, obviously, but
yeah. Revelations.
The whole book. I don't remember what he called it.
That was my rant, though. It was weird to see this guy on this level come in and start talking about aliens because he was probably one of the biggest skeptics that whole thing, thinking it was just the government trying to deter us from what's really going on, all this stuff. But the more he was studying it, the more he was looking into it, like the whole anti-gravity piece, gravity shielding and stuff like that. He's like, I think that's what it is. Like, I think it. We go back and forth on it too all the time. Like I feel weird saying UFOs because I think it's really us. It's just interdimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah, like more time travel.
Rather than coming from Mars.
Out of our solar system. It would have to be out of, I don't want to say our galaxy, but yeah.
That kind of goes to the theory of like we come from I don't even know if this is a theory, but like the planet was seeded with human life on purpose.
Yeah.
And there's something just running around seeding possible planets.
Like little gardens of Eden.
Yeah. You posted, to change the subject, and then I think we got about 10 minutes that we'll jump off. But you posted something in the messages. U.S. alerted Russia to Biden's Ukraine visit for deconfliction purposes. Do you remember what that was about?
So yeah, that came out of that Weinstein podcast too with Joe. I was trying to find the article that I sent. Did I not put it in the Discord? Yeah, I did.
No,
I
don't know.
It's in content sharing.
Messages. Okay.
No, so this was part of the podcast too that I had to go look up after he said it. But yeah, before Biden arrived in Ukraine, our government gave Putin a heads up. Hey, don't bomb Ukraine while
Biden's
our
there.
president is there, our king.
That is such a weird social situation. Like,
I forget where the word deconfliction came from. Like he was breaking that down. Like to avoid a bigger conflict, we gave them the heads up, which is
Yeah.
like showing your hand almost. I feel like it's like, hey, we're going to be in a position to get checkmate. Well, we wouldn't. You just were in a position to take out our king. I keep making chess references for no reason.
Okay, I was like, yeah, he's the president.
But if he had done something,
out
if he
our-
had bombed Ukraine while Biden was in there, that would have been suicide for Russia.
Right, and then there's those videos of the sirens going off while Biden lands, and we thought it was scripted.
Well, I mean,
So did we tell Russia, hey, we're going to Ukraine, don't bomb it? Show up and tell Ukraine to set the alarms off? Is that what we did?
I mean, that would be my bet. Is that, hey,
don't
how do we
know.
make this scary? And then we talked about it last week too, but
Isn't that like a slap in the face? Like, hey, don't bomb it. We're going to be there. They don't. And you set the alarms off like they did to
yeah,
make them look like a giant asshole.
I took that and put it in. Oh, that's the old chat. No, I mean, I wouldn't put that beyond us. But I can't remember if it was last Sunday, which isn't going to get aired, or if it was Tuesday. We were talking about Biden's mannerisms, his whole like walking during those shots of him and Zelensky. It's
Mhm.
fucking weird, dude. I need to find a video of it.
It was a photo op.
No,
Yeah, I
but there's
think-
video of him.
I think I said he looked like a freshman in a one-act play in high school or something, walking like an actor.
Yeah, I don't.
But the bombs are back in effect as soon as he got out of there.
He just seems like so robotic. Like he's just fixed up on so many drugs. He's barely there. Just so he
yeah.
could be videotaped walking.
Look
Like,
at
this
that
is a bad.
grimace. He looks like a Muppet, like the signs where his mouth is like pointing down.
They're
He
like,
does
sir, we
look like
gave
a
you
puppet."
we gave you a square down here, and he's like, that is me.
This is what you did with my $110 billion.
Gave me a fucking square.
This is it. This is the video. Watch him, dude. He like who walks like that?
Yeah.
A man with dementia that is lost.
I feel like he is not consciously there. Like there's literally somebody behind him. Like it's like Weekend at Bernie's. Like they have some
Dude,
kind
he's
of
got an
mechanism in his
earpiece in.
sleeves moving his
He
arms.
walks like, you're right, he walks like those Boston Dynamic robots.
It's so creepy looking. And then it makes me think of like how far I sent you some of those videos with the AI replicating Trump, Biden, and Obama playing like Counter-Strike Go together. Overwatch, yeah. They're their actual voices, right? They've just used AI to like
Make him
read
say
some
different-
script or something. Me and Joel were arguing about that. He thought they were just impersonators, but no, that's AI.
Yeah, no, the AI replicated a trove of examples into different words
Right.
to maintain their speech patterns. Yeah.
So
They
that
did it with Joe Rogan and all kinds of people.
Oh yeah, Joe Rogan was part of it. He was like hosting, like interviewing them about their YouTube videos, how successful they are in their Minecraft videos.
Yeah.
But no, that just makes me think like I think we're already there. Like they can manipulate the video footage obviously to make it look like that's what they're saying. That's a higher level of skill, I think, but it's very possible for somebody to take a video of Obama or Biden or something and make it look like they're saying something. And then now we have the audio piece to it where you could literally get an AI in Biden's voice to say whatever you want. So all the tools are there for Biden to be a literal marionette.
Yeah.
Right? Like any video footage, audio of you hearing our president talk, potentially, dude, I'm probably going to get flagged by the FBI for saying that. But there's no reason not to believe that some high-level skilled government official could manipulate a video and make
Did y'all
Biden
see-
do whatever they wanted.
He gave a speech somewhere, and then a video came out that he was hot mic'd. Like he was caught on a hot mic, and he was like, "Do you think any of these people believe that shit?" And then an aide said, "Yeah, probably. Let's get out of here." Or they always do. Let's get out of here. And then, like the conservatives who were reposting it were titling it deepfake, and I'm like, I still don't know if it was or not. It probably was, but it's also like that seemed really real. That's
Yeah, for real.
weird.
I don't know how to overcome that because, I mean, it's
I mean, you
only
could
going to
deep-
get worse.
You could deepfake your way into World War III.
Well, that's
pretty easily.
the scary thing with the chat GDP stuff. Y'all been following that, right?
GPT, no.
GPT? Like, you could get this AI to literally write any scientific paper and it seems legit. Like, It's
Oh, yeah.
crazy the amount of like false information that potentially you are getting that sounds authentic, but it's just been orchestrated.
Yeah. No,
And the last scariest piece of it too, if we're hearing about it, like we have all heard about GTP at this point, or
it's
these
too late.
these deep fakes. How long have they been doing it to the point that they're okay with sharing it now? Like maybe they've already moved
Yeah.
on to some kind of they're altering
Other-
our reality or something.
Well, yeah, the saying is the government is 50 years ahead of us because
Right.
the black or the whatever that spy plane was, the
B-52.
I don't know if it was a B-52. No, I don't know. B-2 bomber maybe. It
I
doesn't
think they're
matter.
over 50 years ahead of us.
I think if
Yeah.
they discover the time travel stuff, it doesn't matter how many years.
They're
Yeah.
infinitely in front of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even the time. It's like there's some other metric you have to grade it on. They're like dimensions ahead of us.
That's insane.
It's
Well-
weird perspective. It's the scariest routes of this stuff. It's the furthest extremes of these conspiracy theories. But yeah, it is the hour.
That's how we consume the news, I guess.
Through these skeptical lenses. Well, I don't want to say skeptical. I don't know.
It's
Don't
skeptical.
believe anything you read on the internet.
All right, let's do plugs and get out of here. I'm BOC Wasabi on everything. You can also find me on youtube.com/The Rolling Third, all one word. We're live tonight at 8. When does that show start? 8 p.m. Live on YouTube at The Rolling Third. Oh, we're playing Gartic Phone, so bring 2 screens.
Awesome. Excited for that.
Hell right.
I can go next.
I'll go next.
Okay.
So, all right, you can follow my band first, Able Delilah, on any platform. You can get merch, abledelilah.com. We have a show March 18th, the day after St. Patty's Day, and it's in Deep Elm Brewing. So it should be pretty lit. It's
What
from
day
like
was
3
it?
to 6. It's a Saturday, March 18th. I think it's like during the St. Patrick's Day parade that they do in Lower Greenville and all that.
I might try to read that.
So it's going to be lit as hell. You can follow me on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, Inked Beats. And thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for always supporting us. We love you.
Much love. I'm BOC Molasses. I do stream on Twitch occasionally. Might try to get some Hogwarts in today, maybe. I don't know. Not committing
Nice.
to it. Maybe after breakfast I'll feel better. But
What are the
well-
commands in chat?
well, I don't know if I've set them up for this. No, they should still be there.
It's not socials.
It's exclamation socials,
Oh,
but it's not gonna pop up. We don't have chat overlay.
it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
So do that occasionally. We do the actual Funny Nut Theorios podcast every Tuesday at 7:00. Was the scroll on the bottom, I think. But we do that every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Right?
Right.
And then now introducing Funny Nut News, which we're gonna do every Sunday at 8:30 in the morning. Just kind of doing some political commentary, obviously, or just covering current events, more current events focused. But for Tuesday, we're doing Waco and Ruby Ridge, which is an extension from the Tim McVeigh piece that we were covering last week. So do tune into that. It's the ATF is pretty fucking crazy.
All an extension of alphabet agencies.
Yep. All enough season 2 umbrella. But here's our merch store again, just overpriced, but do whatever you want with that. Worst salesman ever. Just funnynuttheorios.com.
I have a cup.
The pints are
Yeah.
pretty cool. The hoodies are pretty cool. It's
mine's not
pretty
in
cool,
here.
nice stuff. But yeah, if you want to invest in it, if you get some leggings, let us know. Anyways, I think that is it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good?
yeah. We'll see you Tuesday.
See you Tuesday, and then Gartic Phone tonight. If y'all want to tune in that, I'm gonna be there because that sounds dope. AF.
What?
Hang on, let me
Okay.
drop a link before we end it.
Drop it like it's.
I don't know it, so I gotta.
And
find
this
it.
should upload to YouTube as well.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
will be on YouTube eventually. All right, guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Cool.
Enjoy your day of rest.
In your entire life, bye.
Bye.